Hello and welcome to The Appointment. I'm Pranjal Sharma. Joining me today for a conversation is Chitale, who is the Vice Chairman and Managing Director of Philips Lighting India. Harsh, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Harsh, it's an interesting time that we're having this conversation because Philips Lighting is now an independent company as against the undivided Philips, which had a range of products. So I think many people still are not aware of the significance of the change. Can we begin by you explaining to us what is Philips Lighting all about and how is it different from what it was earlier?
Okay. So Philips in September 2014 globally announced that it wants to split its lighting segment into an independent company, so which was almost a year and a half back. Thereafter, this entire process of separating out lighting business into independent companies across these dozens of markets happened. February 2016 is when Philips Lighting became an independent company, Philips Lighting BV. And consequent to that, even in India, we split the business in two companies, and Philips Lighting India Limited is now the new home of lighting business in India. Globally, Philips Lighting BV subsequently also listed on Amsterdam Stock Exchange in May, and now it's a globally traded stock as Philips Lighting BV. In India, we've been there for almost 85 years. Philips has been in lighting for 125 years. We in fact had our 125th anniversary of Philips bulb that came out. Right. And over 85 years, we are there in every part of the value chain when it comes to lighting.
So how will Philips Lighting now approach India, and how will your work change now that you are an independent entity and you are focused on delivering the needs of India?
Yeah, so the work as far as our customers or ecosystem is concerned doesn't change. You know, you were always focused on customers, and lighting was a significant part of the business earlier, so had operated independently. What, however, being independent also offers us now is agility. Because as you know, in today's world, technologies are changing very, very rapidly, and the pace of change demands that as a full end-to-end ecosystem, you are able to respond to it very quickly. And now being independent, single sector focused company gives us that agility. Our brand promise now becomes very lighting focused as opposed to being diffused. So agility, focus becomes sharper. And we hope with that we can serve our customers better and further expand our market leadership.
Is there also the need for you to maybe work on India-specific lighting products? Is it distinct from what you would do in other markets?
So it's a great question. So in India, what we sell is almost 93% designed in India and made in India. And to that extent, we jokingly say we are more local than most of the local lighting companies. So, and that's emerged over this 85-year history. So we have two very large R&D centers, one in Bangalore and one in Noida, where we are sitting, where we design products that are specifically designed keeping in mind India's lighting needs. Just to give you one small example, we have very wide voltage fluctuation. The rest of the world doesn't experience that. Now, that needs lights that can withstand such a wide range of fluctuation. And that's one thing, for example, that we make sure happens in every light that we design and launch in India.
And this has been happening for a while?
This has been happening for a while. This center has been there now for 7-8 years. Noida center has been there for over 10 years. So we've been designing products for India for over 10 years now. And on top of that, we also have two very large factories which not only make for India but also export out of India. One in Baroda and one in Mohali. So we make products for India, design for them. We design for also overseas customers and also make for overseas customers.
Can you share some numbers or figures in terms of what is the size of Philips Lighting now, and now under your leadership, what kind of goals and targets are you setting for yourself?
So we are not, let's say, a public listed company in India, and we are not a segment that we report globally. So however, I can share with you is what's our last published information in our annual report in 2014-15, so it's a year-old data. Lighting segment reported 3,440 crore revenue. That's 14-15 figure. The new annual report is due any day. And
right. But what kind of growth are you seeing in India? And now with the independent existence, do you see a higher trajectory of growth for yourself?
Yeah. So lighting industry as a whole right now is going through a major transformation. So what's happening is there are parts of lighting that are going to go away, which is our conventional lighting, which was an energy guzzler, and LED lighting, and even more so connected LED lighting, where light become like a IoT. It has a sensor and it can be remotely controlled over internet, and can do many more things beyond lighting, where lighting just becomes, illumination just becomes one of its value, and it offers many more values. Now that part of the business is growing in very, very high double digits and triple digits. So that's a high growth trajectory of the business. But simultaneously, then there is a traditional conventional lighting which has existed for decades. That's going down. So we are going through right now that kind of an inflection, where one part of the business is going down, other part of the business is growing. Interesting part is now already the growing part of our business is more than 50%, which is this new age lighting, connected, digital, LED.
So who are the users for this connected lighting? Because again, you are serving individual customers, you're looking at institutional customers, you're looking at maybe government bodies, those who want to light monuments, big installations. So it's a range of activities, as I can assume. So where does this fit in?
So all the three actually have usage of energy efficient LED or connected lighting. So when you go to consumers, we have an offering called Philips Hue. That offering allows consumers to change color of the light, intensity of the light, make them on and off, sync them with internet, with TV, and if you're watching a program which has thunderstorm, the light will change color to make you feel that you're in a thunderstorm, to give you that immersive experience. If your child wants to study, and there is a particular setting of light that helps you concentrate better. Now that's the kind of research that Philips has done. So you select concentrate setting, and the light color and intensity goes to a level which is best for studying. Now those kind of technologies are now available to the consumer, and we've introduced that few months back. Globally,
how do you sell them? Because some of these products are sold through institutional networks, through maybe the person or the body which is building the house, the apartment, or the office, or are you targeting the individual consumer?
Yes. So for the, lighting is largely a post-construction purchase, and also a lot of lights gets bought as a replacement. You had some light and now you want to upgrade to better lights, or they failed and hence you want to buy newer lights. So we go directly to consumer. We go through a wide distribution network that we have. We also have about 200 odd Philips light lounges, which are Philips branded stores. We also sell online. We have tie-ups with organized trade like Chromas of the world.
Harsh, you've been telling us about this fascinating journey of change in technology. So, from the old bulbs to CFL to LED and now internet connected lights. Where is this technology heading in India? Is it something that is being forced on the consumers, or are the consumer preferences driving the change? How is this?
This technology is definitely catching on, and pace of adoption is different by different segments. So when you get into institutions where ROI makes the purchase, so if LEDs save, say, 50% energy over conventional, a connected light, which is like a IoT enabled light, saves additional 30%, because now it can dim when there is nobody. It can sense how many people are there and send that data to air conditioning, so that even the air conditioning load comes down. It can optimize space. It can tell you this conference room is free, this is not free. Now all this, by the way, is not sci-fi. This is something that's happening today. Customers are using it, and using it in India.
What would you say is the level of penetration of something like this in the market?
Large, let's say, technology companies, progressive companies who have invested in IT, they are the early adopters, and we see adoption happening in such companies right now.
But do you have to persuade the market, because you're saying there are early adopters, which also implies that some are going to be late adopters and maybe not very convinced. Is it that the cost of acquisition or deployment is higher, but perhaps the usage brings the overall life cycle cost down?
That is right. That's exactly the business case here. That it's a little more expensive than buying unconnected light, but when you connect it, it saves you this extra energy and offers additional benefits. So somebody who is looking at that life cycle cost versus life cycle benefit analysis buys. Somebody who's capital constrained in the beginning doesn't invest in it.
What about an individual home owner, for somebody who is an apartment owner or has a house? Does it make sense to have such technology at their homes?
Oh, absolutely. So if you see, light is no longer now a utility product bought for illumination. Light has become a lifestyle product because it makes your house look prettier. It makes it livelier. It aids in entertainment. It aids in health and productivity. Now, if you see a consumer, a discerning consumer today, he spends maybe over 100,000 rupees for just doing up his curtains or painting his house every few years. For a house, typical house, a 3-bedroom house, probably doing up lights that offer all these values cost less than that. And we are now seeing consumers who are more aware of some of these offerings are adopting these. So they will not buy these because it offers light. Of course, there are cheaper alternatives available. They will buy this because it offers a different experience and offers a better quality of life.
But also, you referred to LED, and so there's LED plus connected lights. So it's a combination of both. The flexibility that LED offers is also of great utility. Right. So apart from the energy saving efforts, it can be deployed in far more innovative ways. Is that also a great factor for the consumers when they come to the market?
Oh, absolutely. So today you could dim an LED when you don't need it. So the same light could be your night lamp. Same light could become a reading lamp with a different texture of the color, and same light could be your working study light. Same light could change color to millions of colors if you want to be in a different mood setting. Same light could be connected remotely when you're not at home to turn on at a particular time and turn off at a particular time. So that is suddenly now creating different use cases than just giving light.
Here, the interesting question around the business of it and the operational part of it is that again, the cycle of change is far shorter than what it was earlier. So maybe the first set of CFLs, by the time they come along, the bulb really hadn't changed. Now you see, so innovations like tube lights and curved and all that happened. Today, companies like yours have to invest in new manufacturing and new technology far more rapidly than perhaps earlier. How are you coping with that?
No, it's a great point. I think the pace of innovation has quickened orders of magnitude. So just to give you an example, out of our 2 R&D centers here, last year we introduced more than 200 new products. Whereas, traditional incandescent bulb lived for decades. Now that's the difference in the pace of innovation. So we've had to enhance our investment and focus on R&D. We've had to make our supply chains more agile. For example, a CFL bulb or a glass incandescent bulb, what you bought last year, if it didn't sell, you could sell next year. If you bought a LED or a digital product last year, if it doesn't sell after 1 year, it has lost all value, because you will get
the
much better,
faster.
You will get much better products, much more powerful, and maybe also more cost effective. So you've had to make the entire value chain more efficient, agile.
But doesn't that put a greater burden on you? Because just when you set up a manufacturing unit for a certain kind of technology, you may have to change it a year later. How do you manage with it?
So the change is not so, let's say, drastic on the manufacturing end. It's much more on the value chain end, how you take it to the consumer.
Why is that?
So earlier, let's say, value chain could afford to have many months of stock. Now, any stock means that much closer to obsolescence. Now, that's the innovation that is needed. How do you make the value chain very efficient? Earlier, you could afford to launch a product and get it to the last outlet in that last village, maybe 5 months later. Now, 5 months later, it's 1 generation older. So it's the pace of introduction, pace of execution.
So from manufacturing to delivery, that timeline has to be much shorter. But you're saying it doesn't impact your production
not
technology?
So much. No, not so much.
How is that?
Because finally, CFL also had electronic driver. LED lamps also have electronic driver. Rest of it is chips and electronic components to be assembled. And hence manufacturing for most lighting companies hasn't been that much of a constraint.
So you don't need to have more flexible or automated systems built in perhaps to be able to change?
You do, but we always had them even earlier. So it's not that it's something new that is getting imposed by this pace of innovation. What's different is the pace of product introduction, keeping in tune with the new technologies that are coming, as opposed to just the manufacturing per se.
Tell us from the policy perspective, how do you see the landscape? How has it changed? There are several initiatives by the Narendra Modi government on GST, on ease of doing business. From your perspective, what is important?
Yeah, no, I think we've seen a lot of policy initiatives by the government which have been very supportive to energy access, to energy efficiency, to make lighting available to all, to make cities more livable. So, for example, our smart city program, or entire solar mission that Prime Minister has announced, or Prakash Path, where he wanted entire India to be LED-fied so that our energy bill comes down. So a lot of these have actually contributed and helped lighting industry. Speaking about smart cities, lighting makes cities more livable and safer. And hence lighting is emerging as one of the key pillars of a smart city. So connected digital lights, street lights, is one key pillar. And we see that work now happening across many cities.
So you could have a light on a street which could be off, but as somebody passes or walks, they keep lighting
Absolutely.
up, as you would see in a high-end hotel.
Absolutely.
So you see that kind of technology being deployed on streets, very normal, ordinary streets of Delhi cities, Indian cities.
Yes. So of course there are some cities that are more advanced in this than the other. But yes,
is it happening already?
It is happening already.
Can you give me an example?
So we do have a new capital that is getting built or has almost been built for state of Chhattisgarh. That has adopted this.
The new Raipur.
Naya Raipur. That has adopted this, and that is already done. And then there are many other cities that are under implementation.
And Amravati is being planned. I hope you will have an occasion.
Hopefully, but that's few years down the road. But here it's as already done. So that's one key vertical. Second, 20-30 crore of Indians don't have access to reliable power. And when somebody in that rural community gets power, first thing they use that power for is light. 70-80% of consumption in rural India of power is for lighting. So energy access is as much as lighting access. So solar rural lighting is another big thing that's getting promoted now. That's making light available to those who didn't have light. And in fact, we as Philips Lighting are globally committed to eradicating light poverty. That's one of our global commitments that we've made. And we are actively working.
And on this eradicating light poverty, in India, where do you stand?
So in state of UP, we worked with the government to install 40,000 solar rural lights in 800 villages. As a part of their Lohiya Awas Yojana, more than 45,000 rural houses have got solar LED lighting. Similar work is happening now in Manipur, has happened in Tamil Nadu, and this is going to catch on with government policy framework also now encouraging this through MNRE, which is a part of Ministry of Power. So that's a second policy initiative that government has taken, which is propelling this sector forward. Third one is equally important, is while new things come, you need to standardize them to make sure the quality and consumer experience is good, and you don't get flooded with cheap, not suitable products that fail and actually take you back. So BIS, which is our Bureau of Indian Standards, took initiative in coming up with various standards for LED lighting. And not only they came up with those standards, they've made them mandatory to sell them in India. Now, we are very supportive. As soon as they came up with those standards, we made all our products compliant to them. And as they get enforced more and more, we believe even the consumer experience, a city experience will improve and will aid the adoption.
One final piece, you identified very interesting parts of it. On GST, the impact would be both on manufacturing and the value chain as you were outlining earlier. Will it significantly reduce costs and perhaps have an impact on the consumers as well?
Not really. It will help movement of goods better. You don't have to have multiple warehouses, so ease our logistics and supply chain cost. But does it fundamentally change the consumer experience? Not so.
But at the back end, it will be more efficient, and therefore, I think consumers will be able to get better technology faster. At the point of the future, what would you like? Is there something which you think still needs to be addressed at the policy framework level, which will make things better?
Indian government has been extremely supportive and progressive on some of these policy frameworks. The pace of LEDification that they ushered in with Prakash Path, or the smart city initiative, which is going to go to eventually hundreds of cities, a solar mission. I think these are global scale, not experimented or tried anywhere. And the good part is they are not on paper. We actually see them happening on the ground. So there is nothing more that one could ask. We would just say, let's do more and more of it. And we are all supportive behind each of these initiatives. And even Make in India program, we make everything in India, and we are very supportive of Make in India.
And you said you're also selling it to other markets from India.
That is right. We sell to over 20 odd countries out of our factories from here.
Right. Thanks, Harsh. Thanks you so much for being with us, and I'm sure that you will continue to light up our lives in the years to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you.